Okay, welcome to the walkthrough of the Blazing Heroes game for the Sega Saturn. I am recording this hopefully to get some people introduced into this game, and hopefully someone will decide they want to give this game a shot. Let's see. Start a new game. This is known as Blazing Heroes. I'm running it on the SSF Sega Saturn emulator with daemon tools to make the ROM read as a disk. I will link all of the stuff I use in the description of the video. This game is basically the story of a prince trying to win back control of his kingdom. Here's the prince right here, obviously. And he's basically trying to get his kingdom back from the main bad guy, who's the reincarnation of the sorcerer Faye. So, I'll just leave the names. The main character here uses swords and magic. He's not that useful, though, unfortunately. So, yeah. This girl, I like this character. She can heal, she can bring people back from the dead, and she can cast offensive magic. So, yeah, she's actually the most useful character you get for quite some time. Here's your first archer you get. He's not that good. He only knows archery, and the other two archers you get have extra skills. So, he's not really that useful, unfortunately. This guy is pretty bad. He's a lion man, and he uses spear techniques and hand-to-hand techniques. So what that means is, by the end of the game, he is a walking pile of kick-ass. So, he does really good. I mean, he's probably the hardest damage dealer, hardest hitting damage dealer you get for quite some time. This is Lord Bane, main bad guy of the whole thing. You fight him multiple times before you actually kill him. Here is... Okay. I'm not going to hold back on spoilers. You get this guy Knight on your team. He's a ninja warrior, as it says here. He uses martial arts and his ninja techniques. So, he can do damage with his sword, and he can do hand-to-hand. He's quite powerful. Good damage dealer. Here's the other archer you get, one of the other two. She can do archery, and she has spells that make shields and make people stronger, make people levitate, stuff like that. So, she's pretty powerful. She's pretty useful. This is, well, you know what? A lot of people would probably think, how do you make a ninja better? You give him wings, and that's what they've done here. Unfortunately, he doesn't live up to his potential. He doesn't hit that hard. He doesn't have that much defense. So, he's kind of a disappointment, unfortunately. So, combat system in this game. It is based on a grid system. I do not... Once you click on a character, it shows the grid. If you take a look at your character's information, which I'm bringing up here, you see he has a category named Energy, just right of his picture. Each of these squares takes one energy to move. The more you move, the more energy you use. The more you move, the less energy you have, the less your damage is when you use an attack. The less you have to move, the harder you're going to hit. Just remember that. Certain attacks need energy to work. I don't have any that do just now, so I'll go over that later. When you select a character, you see in their top left their health and mana, and then in the top right, their techniques. Notice in the top right, it has the T for technique, and then the range of each attack. If you look after you move a character, it shows those exact same techniques in these three boxes. It's because once you get more techniques, you can come in here, select an empty spot, and assign a new technique to it. Eventually, you'll get so many techniques that you have way too many to fit in these 9 spaces. But you can freely come in and replace them in the technique menu, and it doesn't take that character's turn. Okay. The combat is turn-based, so once all of your characters get their moves, then all of the enemies get their moves, which they're doing now. Okay. What you can do is you can come over here, select the unit, and you can see how far they can move. It also shows the health, the mana for them, and it shows the range of their attacks. So it's pretty useful. You can come over here and look at their stats. So tip here, if you select someone and they've got question marks for their stats, it's not going to show you. You have to just kind of guess at what you're at as far as their health goes. So, going to move up here. This triggers cutscene. Basically, what he's doing is he's about to cast a spell and try to kill everyone in the entire battlefield. Forgive me if I skip the talking. There's a lot of talking in this game, so I'll try to sum it up, because if I don't, most of my video is going to be people trying to read what the NPCs are saying, which will eventually get very slow. So here is the ninja waking up in the care of his new team. You explaining that you're the prince of the country. You guys agreed to let him join in, basically, as long as he doesn't try to betray you. The ninja explains that his master forced him to join your enemy. So, alright, now I can show you how combat works. When you look at his technique menu here, you see that punch is 1 range, strike is 1 range, and throwing star is 2. 1 range means either one of the 4 base directions. You cannot attack diagonally with only a 1 range skill. It has to be 2, such as throwing star. There are 3 kinds of attacks. There are well, there are actually quite a few. There are attacks that are single target attacks. There are directional attacks that don't go through obstacles. There are directional attacks that do go through obstacles. There are circle attacks that don't go through obstacles. And there are circle attacks that do go through obstacles. And then there are they're directional areas of effect. So, like, if he was standing here with the target, it would hit these boxes and this one. Or it would hit these and this one. And you'll see these as I learn them later on. I'll make sure I point them out. As you see here, his spear attack, you can always hit over your ally. Your allies never get in the way of your attack. So I can go ahead and strike him. Very undramatic death sequences in this game, which is good. Magic works the same way. You just click skill, click who you want to use it on. Archery, same thing. Okay. The defend skill is one of several you get. It's kind of a passive skill. They have different effects for if your character can't do anything. You can just set them to defend. Right now is the main one I have. This means that you take a little bit less damage than you would if you didn't get to use that skill. So you always want to have a skill like that, at least at hand, so that if you can't attack, then you can at least not get hurt that much. You eventually get counterattack. Alright, let me interrupt myself here. This is how you learn new techniques. The more you use a technique in a certain fighting style, the more points you get. Each technique gives you certain amounts of points. I will demonstrate that right now. If you look at your character's info, you get to this screen, you can go over to where it says skill. This shows your skill in each of the different areas. You see, you have level 1 and EXP. Each attack that you give, that you pull through, gives you certain points of experience. If you look here, you can see where it says, next to spear technique, at the bottom, on the upper section, it says T level 1 plus 3 up. That means when you use this skill, it gives you 3 experience in your spear technique. And if you look at his info here, it shows that he has 3 of 6. Now, he unfortunately takes a little while to learn another spear technique, so it won't go through for him. And it won't always. See, he does learn something. Okay, I'll take that back. It's been a little bit longer than I remember. Ah, yes, okay. That gives me a chance to show you the new type of attack. And then, see, as I said, she can heal. You use healing. Holy cures for like poison, if they confuse people. And her healing's the same way as the other skills. She has to heal to get better at healing. She doesn't even have to actually heal. They don't have to be hurt for her to use her skill and get better. This will let me show off the other battle attack, and then I'll kind of just stop explaining how battle works. You've got the basics. Actually, let me show you one thing. Oops. Okay. You look here and it says that you need 4 energy to use this skill. That's right underneath spear technique on the middle section. What that means is you have to have 4 energy left when you stop moving to use this attack. So if you start moving too far, which is only 2 spaces on this for this, it changes color. It changes to orange on your list on the right. That means you don't have enough energy to use that attack. If you don't have the energy, you can't use it. This is a directional attack, and as you can see, it stops when it gets to the right of him because there's bushes in the way. That means that this is a circular attack that is affected by obstacles. But it doesn't matter because he's not blocked by them. When the letters show up big like that, it means that your character's landed a crit strike. The less you have to move, once again, the more likely you are to get a crit strike. So that's always good. The less you have to move to hit someone, the better. Okay. Well, if you are reasonably sure no one's going to get to you, like you can't move far enough to reach any of my characters, and then there's no one left over here. If you're in a hurry, you can just hit one of your buttons here. Don't hit in turn, and it just basically its turn. It lets the other people do their technique. So that's the basics of combat. I'm going to try to run through this little area as fast as I can, and hopefully I'll keep you guys watching from being too bored. I know this is a very boring game to watch unless you're already very much into it, but I'm going to try to talk, maybe provide a little bit of comic relief. You never know. I might even plug some channels that I'm also a part of. So that's what's coming up in the rest of this little Let's Play session. Okay. A few things to point out about the map here. You can't see it right now. I'm sure it'll activate once we get going. There's a spawn point here. You come into contact with those on a couple of maps. The fun thing about them is if you can figure out where the enemies spawn in, you can actually stand on that spot or put an obstacle on that spot, and it stops them from coming in, which is pretty handy in simulator maps. Move my characters into position here. I always put my melee characters facing towards the oncoming enemies for obvious reasons. The melee or the magic characters. Oh, there you go. Magic characters can't take hits that well, so. Now I can show you some moves. I can't remember. So, move him up. I can strike at his enemy. You'll see he didn't do that much damage because that guy just defended. So, it's going to take a lot of physical damage to bring him down. Or, you bring her over and you throw a big ball of fire in his face. You see, defend doesn't do crap against magic, which is the fun part of it. Now, I'm going to ignore spear techniques. I'm actually going to take those off completely, simply because spear takes a long time to level, and they're not that good until you get the last technique. So I'm actually going to level this individual's martial arts. He turns out pretty powerful, so I'm going to avoid attacking him because it's basically just wasting turns right now. I will hit him if I don't have anything else to do, but once again, 2 energy to use this technique, and he gets 10 points anytime he uses lightning strike. Now he gets his turn. I'm reasonably sure the reinforcement unit will move. Okay. Now, I'm actually going to move him away. The reason is, if I can get further over enough, he's not going to be smart enough to go around. And he's just going to start going this way as we go further over. There's one thing to be said for the enemy artificial intelligence. They're not. If you have an enemy in your way, it takes a lot more energy to move past that. If your enemy's here and you're up here, it won't affect you because you're not moving right beside the enemy. But if you have to move right next to the enemy, it really messes up your energy. You can't go much further, if at all further, past that. I've read in some reviews and some walkthroughs that the elevation of the different areas affects how well you can move. I've certainly noticed that trying to go up hills, but you don't notice it as much going down hills. You see above the archer's health on the right, it has the height. It doesn't make that much difference right now. I've also been told that the range of skills increases if you're higher up. From my personal experiences, that's not true. Once again, I'm just going to attack him since I can't reach the ones that haven't defended. If you can attack, don't pass it up. As long as that person doesn't need to defend to survive, always attack. Because the more you attack, the more skills you unlock, the better your character. Range strike. I will be using range strike for quite some time on him. Unfortunately, the sword skills are very slow. Can I hit him with lightning strike here? Since she has plenty of mana, I can go ahead and finish him off with her. Another spoiler here. You can mute me for about a few seconds if you want to avoid it. At the end of this road, there's a battle that you can't win, and losing there has the exact same effect as losing here. So technically, you could just stand down here where they spawn reinforcements and just fight until you run out of health and die. I've not done it myself simply because that would take a long time. And at this point, you're not that bad as far as leveling, getting skills, that sort of thing. Worst comes to worst, you get a fight after this where you are climbing a mountain. And it's a very long, drawn-out fight, and you can retreat in that fight. And so you can start the level over, kind of amass money and experience that way. As far as I can tell, there's no limit to the reinforcements that they can throw at you. So that's why it's best if you have a reinforcement spot in the area that you're fighting. It's best to cover it. This guy just used a skill I'd like to point out. It's called Ground Block, G&D LTK. What it does is it actually immobilizes the character and doesn't let them attack. Now, I talked about directional attacks that aren't affected by obstacles. This is one. Even though it only has a range of 2, and he gets much longer reaching ones, as you can see, I can hit both of them with it, which means that the first one doesn't block, which means it doesn't get affected by obstacles. I'd like to point out that when they do the demonstrations for their new techniques, they often show them attacking what is nearest to them, or the creature that they just got done killing. Occasionally they show them using the skill on themselves, which is kind of funny, but yeah. I'd like to point out that even though the graphics do seem crude by modern standards, back when the Sega Saturn first came out, these graphics were like primo, top of the line, like Elder Scrolls Skyrim stuff. And it was a game that was made in 3D for a system that wasn't really meant for it. So, I mean, it's really impressive how well this game looks. And I'm going to move up here just to get this cutscene going. These are the 3 generals you saw talking to the main bad guy earlier. They're kind of chilling here waiting on you. I am yawning a lot currently. It's been a long day. But this is how I relax, is playing games, so. While I'm doing this, I am, as I said, the generic Ninja 17. I am a part of a series known as Tay Smash Bros, T-E-H Smash Bros. A takeoff of the Smash Brothers, obviously. It's basically just me and a bunch of my friends. I'm not the main focus of the channel. The channel is ran by an individual named Blaze, who has Blaze Lee the Dragon, Johnny Blaze GR, and a music project called Dreamland. I recommend checking all of them out, obviously. And then a couple of his friends, really. We're all friends. We've known each other for a long time. We met each other in high school. The Smash Brothers series, we basically, we bought some sledgehammers and some axes. And we even used some more unorthodox method to break stuff. It was started by Blaze and his friends as a series known as Which is Stronger. But as he points out in one of the videos, we don't really care which is stronger. We just wanted to break stuff. So that's what we did. We started breaking things. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, there's not much more that's kind of stress relieving than just taking a sledgehammer to an old TV, or we had an old toilet on one of our episodes. So, I mean, it's very stress relieving. So, yeah. A warning about our Blaze Lee the Dragon films. We do have a couple that are very iffy subject matter. One of my personal favorite videos is a video entitled Jesus Gave You AIDS, in which one of our friends, Alex, is trying to convince Tyler that Jesus had given Tyler AIDS. And in the events of the video, Alex does something about Tyler having AIDS. I like to point out that we aren't making fun of AIDS in that video. You won't find that we are very I don't know the terminology. We don't have anything against homosexual people. We don't have anything against people of different races. If we play on stereotypes, it's just because we think a lot of the stereotypes are ridiculous. So, yeah, we're just goof around. Very low budget films. You're not going to see many special effects. As basically most of the recording was just us and a flip camera, and the area around our friend Tyler's house. Okay, quick thing on this fight, you can't win it. This is Juza, the master of Raikou here. Raikou, I mean. And these two are higher level assassins, so you can't really win this fight, unfortunately. So all you can do is really just let them win. I always attack, just so that you get that little bit more experience in your technique. Once I did manage to kill one of the assassins, because somehow every single one of them missed, like 3 rounds in a row. So I got one assassin killed, but then it's impossible to win this battle. Simply because you can't do any damage to Juza, who is the leader of this little group here. And he does quite a lot of damage to you. See, when your character moves to the side like that, which that one just did, that's them dodging the attack. So if you see your character do that, you're pretty much set. Those little marionette things, obviously, that's when they control your character, they take it over. I'm going to show you how you use Holy Cure here, and you can cure them of it. Unfortunately, once you remove a status effect from a character, that character doesn't get the move. So I don't get to use it. So. Keep attacking. Well, there's one character gone. Hopefully they don't draw this out too much. Yep, there's another character gone. Okay, he's going to control some. What skills he uses? Okay, he punched him. Of all the skills, won't even give me a hand. I'm just going to end turn. Let them finish me off. Only tried to control him. That's mildly irritating. And ends turn. Alright, I'm going to wrap this up. When we pick back up, we're going to be in a prison where these guys have been thrown as prisoners of Lord Bane. I hope you enjoyed it. I will have the next video up very soon, hopefully. like I said, I'm just going to fire these off one at a time. Not going to be a lot of editing. Hopefully there's not going to be any editing. I'm just going to play the game, talk you through it. Hopefully make this not too boring. So, catch me next time. I'll have this video uploaded. And hopefully I'll have the next part up soon after. Keep in mind I'm trying to establish myself. So any recommendations, likes, comments can be very much appreciated. And yeah, hopefully soon I'll have a profile picture, but I'm not going to be able to tell anything about me because I have a very special headband or ninja headgear piece that will prevent anyone from recognizing my identity. So until next time, thank you, and I hope you enjoy and have a nice day.